All right, this is for March 2026. It is springtime, so things are starting to pop again here on the farm. Well, I guess we should start with the drought. We haven't had rain since last year, and even with watering plants literally once to twice a week, they're not doing well, and it's kind of brutal. Well, we have noticed that one of our apple trees has just been slowly dying. Couldn't figure it out. And what it turned out to be was that we put wrap blue tube around the trunks of the trees to keep the rabbits from gnawing on them. And as the trees grew, the it got tighter and tighter. And what it did eventually is it just rotted the trunk out. So what we did is we now put the blue tube around the trunk of all the trees, but we put it on very loosely. So lesson learned, but it may cost us an apple tree. Well, we had one day of freeze this winter, and it was enough to wipe out our pawpaw and killed all the banana leaves on the bananas trees, but it didn't kill the banana trees themselves. So in March, it started throwing out new leaves, and surprise, surprise, we've got a few bananas on the tree. So we're kind of excited to see what happens here. Speaking of the garden, we went ahead and planted our garden for this year. We're doing our inbreeding or continuing it with our sorghum and our sunflower. And we also are planting, tomatoes and watermelons and zucchinis and peppers and all that other stuff for us. The biggest problem that we've been having this year, it's been so dry that the garden's the only thing that's green, and so the rabbits have been ferocious. And so, as you can see, we're having literally to put meshing up around all of the plants. On the subject of rabbits in the garden, we've actually had quite a bit of a problem with that this year simply because of the drought. And what I do is I put a sensor out now, and when the rabbit comes in, I just get up at night and let the dog run the rabbit. Did that a couple of nights, and that knocked the frequency down to almost nothing. The other big problem we've been having is with the deer walking through and nibbling on all our trees, deer and nilgai. And they've been particularly brutal for whatever reason on our citrus. And so even with these big mesh protectors, they just sort of busted through it and stuff. So I put a sensor on a telephone post that we have near the citrus, and getting up and letting the dog run, chase the deer half across our property has again brought that incidence down now that it's very, very infrequent that they come and bother the trees. All right, we went out and got some more bamboo, and as I've said in the past, it's kind of a pain doing it. You got to get down with this saw and cut the roots out. But anyways, it's been done, and we now have maybe 40, 50 of them. And this is going to be enough to do between the 10 and the 15 acre poles along the road. So that gets us about three-quarters of the way down the road. So we have to soak them now in water, as you can see, for about a month, 2 months until the roots grow, and then we'll plant them out. So we're pretty excited about that. A number of years ago, this grass showed up in our backyard, and it was about the size of a silver dollar, a little piece of it, and it was really green, and I just liked the way it looked. So I babied it to see what would happen, and it grew into this wonderful, drought-resistant, incredibly thick carpet-like grass. And in fact, we call it raw grass because our dog Raw likes to go lay in it. So what we did is we have started to plug it out around the house, and we put a little blue tag by it so we know where the plug is and we can water it. And what we're hoping here is in a year or so, we'll have this grass all around the house, drought resistant, carpet like. And the other great thing is it grows to a certain size and then kind of stops. So it's like it's perpetually mowed. And so we'll see how that goes. See, in the last log, we talked about setting up our bee experiment that is an experiment that's designed to find a way to automatically multiply the number of hives you have. And we were hoping that we would have some bees move into it so we could run the experiment. Well, we came across a swarm, and so in March here, we went ahead and threw it in. So the experiment's running. We got our fingers crossed. Right. The second thing that we did was we went out to the apiary, which had about 12 or so hives, but they all had a single box. And what we did is we put a second box on. Now, that in itself is not a big deal. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because the bees are so aggressive that it becomes a big deal. And the way that we did it is we went out in the morning when it was really cold. It was about 50 degrees, and that keeps the bees in the from flying around. And what we did is we just put a box with a queen excluder and a new lid, and we kind of put it on as a package. So we pop the lid off the hive, and then we just drop in one movement a new queen excluder box and lid. And by doing that, we were able to get all the boxes on without totally being assaulted by bees. So that was good. All right, so we've been having a little trouble with the avocado plants. The seedlings, they come up and then suddenly they'll all die. And something happened in March. We had a wind come through and it just really pounded them. And even though we had plastic protectors around them, the wind would still get down, and some of them even got pushed down to the ground. And what we realized was this stress was causing problems because right literally the day after the stress, leaves started turning brown. And then over the next week or two, they just slowly went down where most of them then died, which is typical of what we've seen in the past. And so what we think is going on is that any stress at all on these seedlings, whether it be water, heat, wind, anything, and the plants just get a switch turned in them and they just basically die. So this has really been great. It's bad because we lost them, but it's good because I think we now understand what's going on and we can take measures to keep them. So we'll see this summer. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop here. I got most everything. We did some oyster work and things like that, but I think we hit some of the major stuff. The key take home here is that a lot of our projects for the warmer months of summer, we got them all started, and the key finding has been with these avocado plants. If their susceptibility to all these different stressors is what's causing our problems, then hopefully we'll be able to really make some progress with them, which we've been wanting to do.